Hey everyone, welcome back to today's live. I think it's been a while I did live, so I thought it's high time I get back on track. So this particular video is going to be about the Global Talent Independent Visa and also the sponsored visa. So many people reach out about this particular program because it has a very short processing time. So right from the time the expression of interest is given, it literally takes 14 days for them to give a particular approval or like an outcome. So it's a pretty quick visa and it's a permanent residence pathway, and it's very targeted and it's very strategic to the Australian economic recovery. So it is not something a very common visa that's been offered. So that's why I thought I'm going to do a detailed video about this. So it's going to be fully, I'm going to walk you through every steps of how to apply expression of interest and what are the different types of visas, what are the sectors that are there, and why is it such a short processing time, but still not many people apply for this or are eligible for this. So there's lots of information that'll be shared in today's live, so make sure to stick around till the end. So before we dive deep into this particular visa, I want to give you a quick update about Australia, how it is now. So I posted a video 2 days ago about the lockdown in South Australia, Adelaide, because of a supposedly community spread, and then later they found out it's not a community spread. So today, the Saturday, I believe it's the 22nd of November. So from tonight, midnight, the lockdown is being lifted. So from tomorrow, everything is back to normal. So Australia was aiming to get back to normal by, Christmas, but because of the South Australian, sudden increase in the number of COVID or the sudden outbreak, it's really changed the whole scenario. All the states shut down the borders for South Australia. So, it was a bit of a chaos, but I think slowly we are recovering. All the other states are back to normal. Victoria has gone back to 0 cases for the past 2 weeks. Sydney has contained very well in the last week. So things are pretty good. Things are getting back to normal. By Christmas, they're hoping to open the interstate borders. Like within Australia, we'll be free to travel. But because of this Adelaide's thing, it got messy. But hopefully, we still have 1 month. So hopefully, it'll all be good. And on a positive note, that video is scheduled for tonight. So Sir Charles Darwin University, Darwin, is starting a pilot scheme, and the flight is reaching on November 30th. So there are 4 different country people who are allowed in this particular flight for the pilot scheme. So that video will explain. So that's another good sign for the student visa aspirants who want to migrate on student visa. So slowly things are coming up. So according to my prediction, hopefully by mid 2021, we should be back to normal. And that's the reason I thought, okay, let's give more information. So during the Christmas break, during the annual school holidays, when kids are not much to bug you, or maybe they're more at home to bug you, you can start preparing your visa processes. So let's move on to today's topic. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. I've never done it. So if you can see, can you please comment that you can see my screen? Because I think I lose my stream if I share. So can someone please comment if you can see my screen, the Global Talent Visa program? Stalin, hello Gurdeep Singh, hello Venkat Raja. Because there's no point in me sharing the screen and talking if you can't see it. And because I've never used this thing. Okay. Thank you so much, Priya. You're always my lifesaver. Okay. So this is the thing, and always I tend to show you the Home Affairs website. So you can just go to Google and type Global Talent Visa Program Home Affairs. You will get this particular page. So everybody has access to this. There's no problem at all. So it gives all the information about this particular visa. And like I said, because of the economic crisis this COVID has created, Australia is trying to recover the economy by providing more visas for certain occupations that will bring back the Australian economy. So, for example, the healthcare sector, the primary care, and all those streams. So, here it just gives you the basic information about the program. So, there are two programs, as you can see. We've got the Global Talent Visa Program and the Employer Sponsored. So, let's look at each. So under Global Talent Visa Program, when you go to the eligibility criteria, I just got my Wi-Fi booster set up in my backyard, so I can do this live today at the backyard, where kids have dinner and TV without disturbance. Okay, so if you look at the eligibility criteria, these are the target sectors. So this is where people go wrong. So people think every occupation is eligible for this particular visa, but if you look at this, there are only 7 target sectors and certain eligibility criteria that you'll have to meet to be eligible to get an invitation to apply. So it's not the normal process. You have to go through a separate expression of interest. So ag tech, like agriculture technology, you've got space and advanced manufacturing. Again, these come under a very, very wider umbrella. So you'll have to make sure you satisfy the eligibility criteria. And then finance, technology, and then energy and mining, and then medical technology. So it's more towards advanced technology, so IT based, but very specific industries. Medical technologies. It is not like hardcore medicine, or allied health sciences, but medical technologies where you have mostly related to biomedical engineering and stuff like that. And cybersecurity is huge now because of the data security issues and that's going on around at the moment. And you've got quantum information, advanced digital data science, and ICT. ICT is again a huge sector here. Now, to be classified or to be eligible under this particular program, okay, you have to have an outstanding achievement, meaning you can't be, say, for example, I am, someone who is working in an agriculture university or an industry. That is not something considered as an outstanding achievement. So if I have some patents, if I have some very good publications, if I have, some technology that I was really part of, that's where you call it really, really outstanding. And you have to be prominent in your field of expertise. And the problem is, or not the problem, the challenge is, you should have a recognized organization or an individual who is working in Australia nominate you as a global talent, meaning they have to give you a reference in the form of a document. They'll have to reference. So here it's not like India, you go ask anyone, they'll give you reference. It's more like you are allowed, you're accountable. So getting reference in Australia, especially for such things, which is going to really matter so much for issuing a visa, the people will be really hesitant to give something fake. So that's the reason this is a mandatory criteria for you to prove that you are an expertise in that particular field and you are a prominent, outstanding achiever. You need someone who is an Australian citizen and who is in the related domain who can vouch for you in your skill set. Okay, and you have to provide evidence that you will be an asset to Australia, meaning this is, again, like I said, all you need is a nice well crafted story that matches the requirement. Okay, so what is the story, what is the requirement? You'll have to prove that your expertise, your skill set, your qualification, your experience, and add-ons, whatever you have, will be an asset to the organization that you're planning to join, or in turn it'll impact the Australian economy. So that's how you will have to prove. and then you have no difficulty obtaining employment in Australia. So this is basically where you have an offer, you have a job offer, they have a salary cap as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is where you prove that there's no problem in you getting a job. Imagine they're going to give you a visa under global talent. You're someone very distinguished and you come here and you loiter on the roads without getting a job. There's no point. So you'll have to prove evidence in the form of offer letters or interest from employers stating that we're really keen. Once you're here, we are happy to give you a job. So some kind of an assurance, communications, evidences like that will help you to prove this particular point, that you will have no difficulty in getting an employment. So this is always whatever you write it on an application, you'll have to evidence it in the form of a document. All right. So that is the challenge when it comes, because I know how easy it is to get some references, in some companies with some people, because we have lots of friends, we have a lot of family members having owning industries, but that's not how this is done. So this has to be really recognized, exceptional track of professional achievements. You have to evidence it. Okay, so here they've given examples. So you should be in a senior role position. You are expected to be in a senior role position. You can have patents, professional awards that are recognized, and international publications and membership. The reason I'm doing this, I was surprised to look at some of the numbers that was published recently regarding this particular visa. The highest number of invitation was given. Guess what? It was not even for software. It was not for ICT. It was not for space or cyber. It was for university lecturers. So my occupation. So that is why I'm more biased towards certain things. So this is one of the bias that I've got, because it's university lecturers. I know there are a lot of talents in India who are not being recognized, who work in private colleges for very less wages. So that is the reason I'm doing this, to boost people to do this particular stream. If you have patents, if you have good publications with good H index, please go for this particular visa program. It's very short term, and you can have much better outcome in a very short time. Now, you also have places available to masters and PhD students. So this is the thing that I was talking about. So when people are in research, if you're doing a very good research under, a particular topic that falls under these target sectors, then you are eligible to apply. So the only thing, you have to demonstrate your exceptional talent. You can't just be another researcher. You can't just be another PhD scholar, if that makes sense. So you have to be exceptional, someone out of, the crowd. Now, coming to the salary criteria, so you should be able to prove that you will have the ability to get a job that is on an annual basis 153,600. So every financial year this gets adjusted. 153,600, if you ask me, from offshore, it is very, very challenging. And this is where it gets really interesting. These are the things that will stop people from applying, or it will be a challenge where people just bump on it and they'll be like, you know what, I'm just giving up. Even in college lecturing roles, unless if it's going to be, level A, level B, it's not going to be this particular salary bracket. So this is definitely a challenge. So I would say the industry sector would be much easier than the academic roles, considering the COVID scenario. Now, in assessing this, we will consider all these documents. So they will take into consideration your current salary, that is only through payslips or contract, okay? And also your future job, whatever you have spoken to. If you've spoken to any employer in Australia, that particular document or the email communication should also talk about the remuneration, like the salary package that's been discussed. And they'll also take into consideration recent PhD or master graduates in this particular sector. So when I just look at the overall eligibility criteria, maybe it's just me who is, it is more biased towards the academic university lecturer thing, because I saw the data being so much invitations towards university lecturer, but probably even in the other industries, it should be able to match. So these are the eligibility criteria if you look at the global talent visa program. So the application process is pretty much the same. So let's go into the employer sponsored aspect. Just going to jump on to the stream if I see any comments. Nothing, no issues. Okay, it's all good. Yeah. So coming to the employer-sponsored visa. So this is for employers to sponsor overseas worker for highly skilled niche. So I've got so many people who ask me, I'm willing to come and work in supermarkets. I'm willing to come and do farming jobs, because these are the things that a lot of agents who process visas for Dubai, Kuwait, Saudi, they tell them that you can go do farm work in Australia, you can go for fruit picking in Australia. But you can see here, so many people are unemployed. They're ready to do anything. Don't you think they'll just go and pluck some fruit and get money? It's not that, people will not travel to do jobs. People will not do fruit picking. So we need people from India to come and work here. It doesn't work like that. So it is not so easy. It's always that we are willing to do, but the system has to allow. So you have to migrate with a legal visa, and then you can do any work. I know we're willing to do any work to survive, to keep up our family and provide for our family, but the system does not allow you to enter for these criterias. Okay, so if you're a student visa holder, if you're a skilled visa holder, if you're a dependent visa holder, you can do any job. Nobody's going to question you. But if you say that I don't have the skills, I can't score well in English, I don't have a good degree, I can't get a skill assessment, but I want to come as a fruit picker, I want to come as a mushroom picker, I want to come as a supermarket or a petrol station guy, it doesn't work that way. These kind of visas specifically allocated to recruit overseas people are the pathway for people who are trying to come from overseas, who are trying to get some jobs. Okay, so this will specifically done for overseas workers to attract high skilled workers. All right, so that cannot be filled. This is the key point that we need to understand. Every employer or every country is trying to look after their population, their citizens first, and then you provide for the migrants or whoever comes. So these are the highly skilled niche positions that cannot be filled by Australian workers. So they'll have to justify. So the employer, when they're sponsoring a visa for an overseas person under this particular scheme, will have to provide a justification to the department. They advertised multiple times, they shortlisted so many people, they couldn't find. So all these records goes into the recruitment process, where they prove that Australian citizens and residents were not eligible or they were not suitable for this role, and that is why they are going head hunting overseas. So this is part of the legal process that they go through from the employer's perspective, which we don't get to see. And then through other standard visa programs. So especially when you have these temporary skill shortage visas and other stuff, they don't want it to be a double dip. Okay, you can't have that particular visa, or you can have this one. So they want to choose this one as really highly skilled. So temporary skill shortage, you will find most of the trade jobs that goes into that, and something that comes as an immediate, like now for example the healthcare workers, they come under the temporary skill shortage, but not these highly skilled workers that you want to employ. Okay, so all these we don't want to go into detail and waste our time. All I want you to know is the this is all about the the company who's willing to sponsor. I'm just going to work with you about your eligibility criteria. Now, the applicant's criteria, you have to meet the health, character, and security requirement, which is pretty normal for any visa that you apply. No familial relationship with directors or stakeholders, shareholders. So meaning you'll have to prove that they're not one of your relative, they're not one of your friends, your wife's relative or husband's relative. So all that investigation will go on to check that it is a genuine process. Like I start a company, I have an ABN, I can't call my brother under this particular program. Okay, so that is something that they really dig into, and qualification must be commensurate with a high skill, obviously under this particular criteria, and you should have minimum 3 years of work experience. There's not much scrutiny here if you look at the global talent visa and the employer sponsor, because the employer here takes the risk, right? So if I do something wrong, if I'm the employer and I produce fake documents, I'm in soup. So I'll be sued, I'll be losing my license to do business, I'll be losing my integrity, I'll be losing everything. So the employer will not be willing to take risk unless in exceptional cases, but mostly they'll not. That's why the eligibility criteria is pretty simple. You should have met the health requirement, you should have eligibility criteria. You should have the education. You should have minimum 3 years. So it's pretty straightforward for us, but the employer will not give you an offer if you're not qualified, if that makes sense. So capacity to pass on skills develop Australian. So this you'll prove with a letter, and you have to have a minimal earning of not less than 80,000. So 80,000 is achievable. It's not a big deal. Okay. So startups seeking to access must have this about the company. So we're not going into this. So this application process pretty much the same for both of these. There is a portal to apply for your expression of interest. All right. So you will have to submit your expression of interest under a specific form that is provided here. Now, if you are found eligible, then you will be given a specific number called a unique identifier. Now, once you have that unique identifier, you have different steps. So I'll show you the form in a minute. Yeah. So this is the global talent contact form. So it just tells you this form will help you to express your interest if you are specialized in blah, 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 these fields. And if you have the ability to demonstrate, you will get so much salary. And so these are like 3 processes in one form. All right. So you have to choose which one you're trying to do. So first step when you do it, you will choose number 1. So express an interest, and then you will do all the things, whatever they ask for. Once you get the unique identifier, you have to say, lodge a distinguished talent visa application in this particular stream or under the global talent independent program if you have a unique identifier. So there are 3 different processes under this particular contact form. So you will use this one form to fill out depending on wherever you are. So the first step, you'll choose number 1. And once they assess your eligibility criteria, if you're eligible, they'll give you the unique identifier. Once you get the identifier, you can lodge this particular visa under the Global Talent program. Otherwise, you lodge the Distinguished Talent Visa application, which is another straight direct grant. So this is the form. I'm not going to go into the details of the form, but this is very simple, straightforward. Fill in all your particulars, fill in all your details, upload supportive documents, and it is processed. So this is the time it takes, 14 days for them to give you an outcome for this expression of interest. It's pretty much like a very fast express entry process. So that is the very, very first step that you have, expression of interest, and then you apply for visa based on the outcome that you get there, which is very similar to any visas that you apply via IME account. Okay, so that is pretty straightforward. Now let's go to the employer sponsored. So here it's a little bit different from that process because you submit it with the agreement with the sponsor. So this one, as it gets complicated because the employer, if it's different, say for example, university jobs, most of the university jobs get advertised. If they can't find someone local, they start headhunting for the senior roles from overseas. So in that case, it would be a very straightforward agreement between the university and the applicant. If it's an industry partner, it's a whole different scenario how it changes. So based on the business, all these levels of assessment and agreement nominations, it gets complicated. Okay, and it's, I'm not saying it's it's hard, it's challenging, but it's a whole different ball game compared to the Global Talent Visa program. So most of the individuals who are aiming to apply under this particular program will fall under Global Talent Visa program. And if you already have identified a potential employer who's willing to sponsor you, in that case, you will go under the Global Talent Employer program. Now, the reason I started, I decided to do live on this particular, because I've never done like this, in depth with screen share, is because of this number that I found. Okay. Now, if you look at the invitations that were issued from 2019 to 2020, so this one is for the financial year 2020. You number US, it really spiked up from March to May. Even we had the COVID and stuff going on. So it really spiked up, and then completely dropped. So you can see still there were 529 invitations that were sent out. And if you look at the invitations issued based on the country, Iran got the highest number of invitations, and followed by Bangladesh, and then India, and then China. So these four countries are on the top list to get the this particular global talent visa. Now, this made me really think, because they've also issued another, notification saying they are planning to increase the number of invitation by in 2020 to 2021, so 3 times. So you can imagine the number of invitations that will be issued for this financial year. So it is a very, very crucial visa, which makes people feel little intimidated, because it's a very highly skilled one, and they're expecting people with patents and publications, and they're also asking you all to prove that you are eligible to get 153,000. It's not going to be easy. So yeah, so that's the challenge, I think, which stops people from applying. But I think if we really make an effort, it's not an easy thing. So if I had known this in 2014, 15 when I applied, I would have definitely gone for this option. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can see the comments here. I hope it was helpful. I didn't scare the hell out of you all. Let's look at. Hello, hi Gurdeep. Hello, thank you, Stalin. This is my backyard that we did for Diwali celebrations. I hope the lighting is good. We're just trying to get some things done before Christmas. How is the market in Adelaide? Adelaide, like I said, because of the cancellation of, it's funny because the lockdown was introduced and then it was cancelled. So everything is back, hopefully back to normal. I haven't stepped out of the house for the past 4 days. Even otherwise, I work from home. So it's all good now, pretty good. So everybody is trying to get back into business. The government funds and support that was provided is slowly cutting down. They've extended it, but it's not as much as it used to be. So everybody is trying to get back to normal. Everybody is trying to get back to business. So yeah, hopefully by the early 2021, things should be good. And I really, really pray by March. I don't know. Somewhere it's in the gut feel. March 2021. Everything will be cleared, the travel ban will be lifted. But yeah, I'm not an astrologist, so hopefully it'll be good. IT job market, yeah, all the industries, especially the ones that they've mentioned in the economic recovery, IT is again a very, very crucial sector. So IT always you need IT people. I want to check my documents for PR. For example, I want to check my reference letters. Any agencies like this? No. If you're lucky, the immigration will check your reference and tell you if it's good or bad. I don't think there is anyone, who do this unless, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. If anybody can check your reference letter, you mean the format or the authenticity, whether the company exists or not? I don't understand. But if it's just the reference letter, check the format. Any agent will do that for you. But to check whether you've given a original document or a fraud document, I don't know whether people do that. Hello, Sai. Could you please clarify how long an EOI CCL skill assessment is valid? So each one has its validity. I think expression of interest is 2 years, and NATI as well, skill assessment, depending on the skill assessment topic. But generally, roughly, you can keep 2 to 3 years is the rough thing. To be on the safer side, now we'll keep it 2 years. Okay, so what if something goes wrong? The processing times, we have no idea how the processing time is going to be. Once everything is back to normal, it's going to get crazy. But let's keep it 2 years to be on the safer side. What if I previously rejected for EY for Global Talent Independent, can I still apply for Global Talent Visa? Yes, you can. There is no clause that says you can't reapply. But the problem would be, I don't know how or what reasons your previous EY got rejected. So if you're going to apply in a completely different stream, or if you're going to say a totally different story to what you said before, then that could be a problem. They'll, it could be different. But if it's going to be slightly different, if you're going to strengthen your application, which you didn't do the first time because you didn't know how to do it, then that's completely understandable. Okay, they're very chill as long as you're honest, as long as you can justify, as long as you can tell them. Hello from some number. I don't know who they are. Do I need to apply for ACS skill assessment and got approved before apply for cybersecurity global talent visa? So this particular visa stream does not really emphasize about the skill assessment, okay? Because that is why we have people in distinguished roles in that particular industry referencing your skill set. So skill assessment is nothing but an agency checks your documents basically and tells, okay, you with this particular education qualification, with this previous experience, you are eligible to work as so and so in Australia. So that is what the reference letter from someone in that same field is going to do. So there is not a mention about skill assessment, but you have it. It can be an add-on, it can power pack, but I don't see it as a mandatory requirement. But again, that's my personal suggestion. Okay, always take such things from YouTube with a pinch of salt. Do your research before you actually get to do the work and apply, and then don't blame you told me and I did it and this is what happened. Okay, so that is the thing I wanted to tell you all. Pretty much there's not much other updates. I don't like sitting and talking stories to people, so if there is not many questions, okay, we've got one now. Do we need to wait for the state to open to file 491 family sponsored visa, or we can apply as we still in 189, even state is closed for nominations? Family sponsored visas has always they've been issuing invitations. It's just the state sponsored, which there's no clue, there's no information. So family sponsored, even now the invitations are being issued, it's all happening. I don't know what time they introduced this 491. It's like it's a really bad time, I think, just for the visa subclass. But family sponsored is already in effect, so you can do that. Yes, Vikas, shoot your question, because I don't like sitting here and waiting for people to, comment, and then because people who watch the replay will get bugged. Okay, your IELTS score is 8 each. How much time it takes to know the result after? So normally they say more than 50% is between 0 to 14 days, and the other half is 14 to 30 days. So in 1 month you should have an outcome for this particular visa. For the other streams, it depends at the time of application, whatever is shown on the website. This particular visa, that's why, when they advertise like other YouTube videos about this, they'll be like 2 weeks, get your PR, but I think for me personally, it's very misleading. But it's just me. But there are other things that you will get it like this. Lot 190, New South Wales, PR, November 2019. No contract from case officer yet, obviously, because of the travel ban. Why immigration take long to process the application? I'm onshore. Okay, you're onshore. Onshore shouldn't take so long. And my occupation is accountant. Yeah, 190 per state sponsored. Maybe that's the reason. What I can think of is because of the budget issues, and because you're onshore, this will be the least priority for them with all the. So you're talking about November 2019. So New South Wales had a havoc with bushfires, and then we had corona, and then we had a second surge of infections in New South Wales. So with all this in head, so they're only trying to recover, get back to normal, and issuing state sponsorship is the last criteria or the last priority for the immigration of the state, and you know it well. So that is why it's taking time. And the purpose that I keep insisting people to do it is because you have to be prepared. You have to be always in your best to shoot the application once the gate is open. Okay, so that's the reason I keep insisting. Do your bit of work so you don't delay the process. Once everything is done, you can just shoot the application. Okay, I really hope this session was helpful, and if you think this visa will help anyone in your family or friends, feel free to share with them. And I'll see you all sometime next week with another interesting topic. You all stay well till then. I'll see you all next week.